Hello, and welcome to UnEdited. Hello, it's Thursday on RCO Network, Studio 110 here in Phoenix, Arizona. My name is Robert Morales, RCO Network. Good people, better business, discovering the best of you. Every Thursday, we talk to small businesses, entrepreneurs about their business and the things they go through in life, as well as in business. You know, that's kind of what we do. If you like what we're doing and like and want to comment and give questions to our guests and who we have, put that in the comment section below. If you like what you're seeing and you want to give us a little love, give us a heart emoji if you're on LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch. I don't know. That's one of those. But today, as like no other, my special guest co-host is from Prime Lending. We're here to talk about various things regarding mortgages. Please welcome Mr. Victor Alarcon. Alarcon. Hold on, he's getting there. There he is. There he is. We're cheering on.
All right.
But again, like I said, we're here every Thursday talking about entrepreneurs and two small businesses and people in the trying to make it out in this world, you know, and don't like the corporate lifestyle, you know, kind of want something for themselves. So again, if you see anything you like or want to share, go ahead and put that in the comment section. Now I'm done. So, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. I'm excited about the subject today. It's a taboo thing.
You did it.
Well, yeah, not my fault.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't
you did
me.
It.
Not my fault. I didn't do it.
Yeah. You know, I recently, me and Victor came across a situation where we had to be, I guess, wear our big boy shorts. You know, it comes to a point in your business where, you know, very early on, and we were talking about this, you know, before we started, very early on, we get into our businesses and we're just jonesing for any kind of business. And, you know, we will make a lot of concessions in time and effort and even in money and sacrifice a lot of things just because we don't have business. And then after a while, you kind of realize that through experience and after a few deals that you don't have to concede your value, I would say.
Yeah.
You know, does that resonate with you, sir?
I agree. I think, how can I put it? The respect for the rules, right? And it's our own internal rules that we have to have. I think if you start to lose that integrity or your own little mantra, you just start you're gonna sell your soul to the devil basically at that point. So that's the big thing. I think understanding that even though we don't want to say that we're pissing clients off, we're going to have pissed off clients from time to time, and we have to accept it.
Disappointed, pissed off. Yeah, the various reasons why there's conflict between you as a small business owner, entrepreneur, and when you come across clients, because, you know, I will say at the end of the day, people are just selfish. I'm selfish, you're selfish. We're all going to think in terms of what's best for ourselves, and then in what's best for our families, and then so on and goes out from there. And so when you're dealing with the business and you're like, oh, well, you're a business owner, you make all this money, you know, you can afford the loss. It's like, well, no, I got bills to pay too, and I got a family and stuff too. And, you know, people don't necessarily see that. They see very kind of what's in their situation. And as business owners, sometimes you kind of pull yourself away from that ego mindset, you know, and really start trying and doing things that are in best interest of somebody else.
For sure. And then you start actually kind of even sacrificing certain times where you're like, well, I promised myself I was going to spend this time with the kids or the family at the movies or whatnot, and I have to take this call or COVID pneumonia, and people are calling you all the time, and you're like, I can't talk, and, you know, all of a sudden they're upset with it. But I think it's just putting on our big boy shorts and saying, hey, you know what? It is what it is. We have to just move forward.
Yeah, and there's only so much you can do to make somebody happy. And it goes in any relationship in life, not only in business with clients, but friends, family, even your spouse. I mean, even as close as that person, sometimes you're going to disappoint them. Yeah. You know, and if they're so disappointed in you to the extent that it's going to, I guess, interrupt the relationship, then it's probably not somebody that you need to be with, and you need to kind of separate. So anyway, the whole purpose of this thing is because Victor and I came across a situation together. You know, I'm in real estate. Victor does mortgages. And so I had a client who was Spanish speaking. And I called Victor. I'm like, hey, you speak Spanish, right?
Absolutely. 100%.
Se habla español.
First language I learned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really? Where'd you grow up from?
El Paso, Texas.
Tejas, huh?
Tejas, yeah. Or us El Pasoans call it El Chuco.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah, that's what it, you know, like Phoenix called the Phoenicians or whatever they call themselves. Right? Yeah, from El Chuco. That's how you know, oh, no, they're native El Paso. It's a little saying all of us know. So, yeah.
I didn't realize that. But yeah, we came across a situation where I needed a little help. And for me, I grew up in Douglas. You know Douglas? Mm-hmm. Small town, border town. Everybody there knows Spanish, except a few of us. I grew up around it. I mean, I grew up with my grandma next door, and I can ask her for a burrito. Nana, you quiero un burrito, please? Mm-hmm. And she's like, She knew it. I was just there for food. But that's probably the extent of Spanish, and I don't feel comfortable with it. And so I came across a client that I needed to refer over, and I said, hey, Victor, can you help me with this? Sure. I said, I had a team at one point, and on that member on that team, she spoke Spanish, but then, after a while, it's just like, when the team dissipated and I came back to doing my own stuff, I don't speak Spanish, and I don't have anybody to refer to. And so I handed the client over, and you spent how long with him, Victor?
I spent 3 hours with them at night, went over their, the credit, did the credit application, did the differences in programs that we have available, show them what's the benefit of one and what's the benefit of the other, why we should do one. And they decided they concurred and went with one, sent the prequal out, and they were ready to go shopping.
Yeah. And then when they came back to me to show houses to, I'm very disappointed. This market just sucks. Flat out. The real estate market just sucks, especially at a price point. And if, I guess we can it was around the $300,000 price point. Anything around $300,000 is just like shit. It's just complete, utter crap, and it needs major repairs, or it's super small, or it's like a condo, just something that's not necessarily family sized. It's not a single family residence where you have a yard and you have your own kind of space. These houses aren't the best out there for under $300,000. That's what this person qualified for. And every avenue that we ventured down, like literal avenue because they were down streets, disappointed because they were looking at houses that weren't they weren't put together very well. Mm-hmm. And then because, it's your house, you should be a little picky. And because I've been exposed to it and I see what the market is, I'm like, you can't be very picky. And it's hard to articulate that to somebody who's just like, oh my God, I can buy a house. Yeah. That's excited. You don't want to diminish that excitement. And that can go for anything. If you finally get a client, if you've been working at it 6 months, 9 months, whatever, and you finally get this client converted over, like, okay, I'm ready to go. And then you realize that the market's not serving for that client. It's just hard and it's hard to break their heart that way.
No, and it is. I mean, they were disappointed because you have that expectation more than anything else, right? No. Especially because you hear 300,000. That's not chump change. That's a pretty good chunk of change. It's a great, it's a hefty payment for some individuals. So they just had this visualization of what they're going to get, I'm sure. And then when they start seeing the reality of it, I always say perception's reality. If you tell me I'm buying a $350,000 home, I already think, okay, 4-bedroom, 2-bath, pool. And then I go out and look, and it's like, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, townhome,
maybe a roof.
Right? So, and I get it, and they would send a ton of addresses, a ton of Zillows that were already, and Zillow. I mean, they still have my parents' house listed, and my parents' house sold in July. So yeah. So a little exaggerated on Zillow, right? Don't trust Zillow on whether or not it's actually pending or still available. That's what realtors are for. But I would be sent probably 10, 15 houses every night. Like, hey, is this one still available? Is this one still available? Is this one still available? I was like, Robert, is this one still available?
Yeah, and every avenue that we went down, it was either this house is nice, but it doesn't qualify FHA. This house is nice, but it was built in 1968 and it's a manufactured home. And there's just certain things that you just like. For me, I hated telling her no. Yeah. And that all she ever heard was no. And so when a client hears that, especially from somebody they trust, it's like, well, they're not really working for me. They're not working hard, but it's not that. You know what I mean? And at the end of it, long story short, she decided to venture off from me. Yeah. And that's okay. But she ventured off with another agent. She didn't tell me. And then, of course, that happens too. I think that happens to all of us. If you're like a landscaper, if you're an AC guy, they're going to get three bids or 4 bids, or they're going to go with the lowest person. And it's like, okay. And that's why they charge. I always look for people that would do it for free. But then you realize after about 5 or 6 of those, like, well, now I know why they charge because they know that they're probably not going to be selected. Yeah. But again, long story short, she was just disappointed and decided to venture off. and luckily you and I were in good communication. And I think, the where we connect, and I think this is a learning lesson for all people out there. You've gotten to a place in your business when you can let people go. Mm-hmm. When you can see a situation and you cannot resolve or fix their problem, and they want to go out and figure it out for themselves or go fight on their own and take on that battle without the help and support, you just got to let them go.
Well, and like I told you, there was an alert that credit was checked, and I thought, okay, well, I guess they're so disappointed that they're just wanting to go and see if they can qualify for more.
Yeah.
And I get it, and that's something that you and I discussed. I ended up calling her, and I just followed up with her, and it's still the same thing. It's just almost the definition of insanity, just going out there, finding the same house, and just disappointment, hearing that, let's go through plan B and see if you can qualify for more. Go to plan B and disappointment. So, yeah, at that point, it's just kind of like, well, sorry, there's not much I can do. I can't change the taxes. I can't change HOAs. Can't change prices. I wish I could. Could you imagine?
No, yeah. I mean, it's a tough market out there, and there's other stuff going on. But as far as like Phoenix real estate, it is pretty tough, and it's a hard part in any kind of business to just get the person to call you. And then in our business, you have to, like for me, when I get a call, it's like, okay, I heard you and I heard that you were good at what you do. Can you help me? And I'm like, absolutely, I'll help you. Oh, by the way, you have to talk to somebody else too. They're like, I barely uttered up the strength to call you. Now you got to have to talk to somebody else, which is a lender, because it doesn't make sense for an agent to go out there and show houses unless they know the other person's qualified, and how much, in people's minds, they see HGTV. And they want to go. They see the perfect house with a yacht in the backyard, and they're like, "Oh wow, that's a really nice house. Yeah. I want one of those."
And I mean, isn't that ridiculous though? I mean, you hear what they do, and I'm a part-time barista, and I'm a part-time teacher, and our price point's $850,000, and I'm sitting here like, how? I don't get that. Like, did they inherit money? I don't know.
Yeah. And so I guess since we're on the topic, as far as qualifying and stuff, and is there certain things that people can do to kind of prepare to get qualified for a home loan? Is there certain things that they can kind of put together, at least kind of tentatively, maybe start with like documents and then even like how much money they should put down or save?
Big thing is, I mean, there's programs out there that can help people, for the upfront cost or down payment. Interest rate's going to be a little bit higher. So it's always good to save your money. And not only that, but to have less debt. And I know that's hard. I mean, holidays are coming up. COVID kind of hit if you lost your job or whatnot. But pay them down. Pay your credit cards down to, less than 20 or 30% of what the balance is. And don't have them maxed out, because the higher the limit, but we also need to verify your pay stubs, your bank statements, your W-2s. If you're self-employed, your tax returns. We're putting together pieces of the puzzle, and it's for both of us, right? Because I want to make sure that everything I've gathered is accurate, and I validate everything so that I can send you a prequel and say, hey, at the end of the day, I'm not going to turn around in 30 days and say, hey, Robert, that prequel, just kidding. They don't qualify for that much. They qualify for much less. Yeah. So that's the big part of it. You don't want to, because that's the part of pissing people off. I mean, can you imagine listing agent, the family that is selling the house, the family that's buying the house, you and everyone else involved in it, and all of a sudden, well, who screwed up here?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't screw up. They didn't give me their pay stubs, and well, I didn't screw up. They didn't do this, and it's the lame game.
Yeah, and in all honesty, I feel bad for the family that we were helping. I mean, you're still in the process of helping, but I felt bad, and I realized that I'm not the best to serve them. And it was hard for me to articulate that because I don't speak the language, at least not well. Yeah. I can get by with like ¿cómo estás? Pretty good, Estás muy bien. But that's about as far as I go, and it doesn't serve their interest. And I think at the end of every transaction with every client, I had a mind shift, early on. And in all honesty, you should give people who are really invested and want to learn this business a chance. Mm-hmm. But there is something to be said about experience too. And then the agent that they selected only sold 4 houses, and I think she's been an agent for a few years now.
Not very long, yeah.
Yeah, or whatever. I mean, and that's not to fault her. It's just, she's just hasn't found the ability to, maybe hasn't done enough. I don't know. I was there once too. I had 4 transactions at one point too, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I could do this. But you have to give those people a chance. But it does give credit to the people that are experienced. And I know you as a business owner, I think you understand, and you cross a particular line, when you can kind of let people go, like we were talking about earlier. Just letting people go and allowing them to come back, because they will go back out there and feel disappointed, And if the person you're working with has that mindset of just you as a transaction, that'll be very evident towards the end. And hopefully it doesn't come at the cost of money. Hopefully it doesn't come at the cost of significant disappointment. Yeah. Like that agent, I'm concerned that she's just going to sell them whatever. Yeah. And it could be a piece of shit, and they didn't get an inspection, or they didn't do the appraisal the right way, or at least assess it the right way.
And it's so funny. I remember when I first got into the industry, my wife refers her hairstylist's daughter to me. Yeah. So talking to her, and she has very minimal money to put down, can't qualify because of certain situations. And she turned around and said, well, I want to do a hard money loan. And I said, I don't recommend that, because here's the problem with it. Try and turn around, take care of your situation, and then let's address it, because I can't do a hard money loan. And even if I could, in my conscience, I wouldn't. Why? I'm ripping you off. She went and did a hard money loan. And she went and told my wife, basically, look, I did what your husband, and he did what your husband couldn't do. And my wife came back to me and said, why didn't you do this? And I said, it's not that I can't do it. No. One, I cannot do it. I said, legally, because I don't do hard money loans. I said, but 2, look at what she's going to do. I said, she's just going to pay nothing but interest, never hit the principal for 5 years or whatever they put her for. Why am I going to do that? I said, heaven knows how much her interest is. Yeah. So, no, good luck. I'm so sorry I couldn't help you. You got a house? Great. You're going to pay for it now. Yeah. And she went, told the hairstylist, because the hairstylist called us out on it too. Oh, hairstylist turned around and, my wife said, it's not that he didn't want to. It's just that he's not going to, because it's not a good idea for her. He's like, I'm sorry, but he has a conscience. He's going to sleep at night better. Hey, she got a house? Great. As long as she's happy. And kept it at that.
How much is the rate on that? Those hard money loans are really, really high in interest rates.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think she's paying upwards of like $1,800 a month. Yeah. And that's just rate. That's just interest. Nothing but interest, which is crazy.
Yeah. I had a friend that bought a car. Granted, it was like $4,000. It was a used car, but they quoted him 19% interest. Yeah. I'm like, that's insane.
Yeah, it's like $300 a month.
Yeah, and $4,000 and what are you getting? For it, you're getting a higher payment. Yeah. And it's unfortunate, but I think people are sometimes in that mode again, that egocentric mode where they just can't think beyond that. And the thing I appreciate about you, and I guess I haven't shared it before, is that you're able to extend yourself outside of yourself. Meaning that you're not trying to just get a transaction. You're not just trying to get a deal and get it done. You actually care about the people, and that was very evident in our little interaction with this client, mutual client. And that's something I appreciate, because like I said, it's very hard to separate from like, shit, I've had a couple bad months. I need this deal, and being able to separate and say, what, this is what's best for them. And I may not get it, Yeah. Here, go.
Well, kind of thing. And I think it's also, I mean, when I was in the car industry, and let me take a step back. Yeah. They spend a lot of money in marketing, the car dealerships. They, hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. So they look at, everyone complains like, I go into the car dealership and they're just on me like sharks. Yeah, because they spent $250,000 on advertising. So you're going to either buy a keychain or a car or something from them, just so at least they can, balance that out. When it happens, though, I look at every single opportunity as either an opportunity to do business now or later. And if I'm not doing 1 million transactions a month, I still can turn around, stay late at work, talk with you, even if it's late at night, even while I'm driving home or whatever. We'd played phone tag that night probably like 10 times. But yeah, I mean, it's just so important, because to me, if I at least know that they're comfortable, I've answered their questions, they've called me at 10 o'clock at night, and they feel comfortable moving in with it, I don't want to know that they're uncertain. I don't want to know that they're not comfortable. I don't want to know that there's any sort of black holes there with the scenario, because it's a big purchase. I mean, you're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars there, so you might as well know it. And I don't look at it as just, oh, you know, low number, whatever.
Yeah.
It's you know, this and this person.
Yeah, the nice part about and you may I think you reach out to clients and they see you in person. Mm-hmm. Like if you do, I've done deals or at least gotten leads from Quicken and some other places too, and they're very dispersonal.
Yeah,
unpersonal.
Yeah,
one of those.
No bedside manner.
There is a distance there, and when somebody's able to sit down and kind of negotiate these things, not necessarily hand holding, but definitely just taking their time, whether it's a few minutes to 3 hours is a long time.
Yeah,
that is dedicated work.
Yeah.
But to have them sit, you know that they're invested in trying to help, especially when they take the time to explain things. Mm-hmm. And it serves as a marker, again, of experience and your humbleness when you can do that and not really blame the other person if they decide to leave you.
Yeah.
And again, it's not our fault, and there's no one to blame for this whole situation. It's like, I could not best serve her. Yeah. I knew that physically. And I mean, I wish I could have articulated that to her and explain that to her. I'm like, hey, I don't know. They knew that ahead of time because I married their daughter. They asked me to officiate in English. So they knew that there was no Spanish there, and so they already knew that ahead of time. But, I think the first step in this whole process, especially in this situation, is to be honest. Mm-hmm. And not necessarily with the person. The person you got to be honest with is yourself and say, you know what, I can't help them. And then when they reached out to another agent, another realtor, that they felt could help them, I called that agent and humbly gave them over. I first talked about a compensation, for commission, and to me it seemed like she needed the money. Mm-hmm. So I said, you know what, don't worry about the money. Don't worry about take care of them. Do not abuse them. They're very ignorant as far as this whole process. They're from, they don't speak the language. And they just want a home. Just make sure you take care of them. And now we have some issues.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, it's disappointing because so many individuals that are looking for that are just, so concerned or just looking for that next deal. They want to try and make every single effort possible to do it. And it's almost like they're, I guess I don't want to say pressuring people to purchase the home, but pressuring people to purchase the home. I have a very close family member, wouldn't listen to me about going with an experienced realtor, went with a friend, waived inspection, didn't ask for anything on appraisal, and I mean, all sorts of stuff, like everything that like in your mind, like you're like, why are you going to do this? Yeah. They waived it, moves into the house, and I think there was probably upwards of like $20,000 in repairs that had to happen the day she moved in. They had water leaks, the AC wasn't working, the roof started leaking, and you're sitting there like, told you so. Like, no, I know she needed the money, but how much money did you lose now just to help her with a couple $1,000 or whatever she made?
Yeah, and that's the challenging part. And when you're I think the biggest learning lesson for me, and the thing I can translate over, and you can kind of pitch into. Somewhere along my career, I decided to take on a different lens. When I first started, it was about the sales, it was about the transaction. I needed more leads, I needed more. And I was like doing Arch Dialer. It's like this phone system where you just dial. And then I had all these scripts like lined up, like different scenarios. Like if they answered one way, use this script. And it was so disingenuous, and it felt so cold and calloused. And I'm like, I don't want this shit for myself. Mm-hmm. I don't want somebody calling me randomly trying to use these scripts. So why would I do that? So I just had this this thing that clicked to me. I'm like, well, I'm going to change my lens. I'm going to take the idea that I'm trying to sell houses and take on the idea that I want to be a friend, and whatever that means. And there's been situations like this one, not so much this one in particular, but situations like this one, where I have to take a step back and say, if I was her friend, which I am, what would I do in response to being a friend? Not as an agent, not as a realtor, not as somebody that needs a sale, not as somebody that needs that commission. What do I do as a friend? And as a friend, it's like, hey, I called the other agent. I said, just let them know that I'm okay with them going with you. That's all I ask. Because I can't really even say that in Spanish. Hey, Victor, can you tell them that they can go with her? It's really hard to do that. But I had to, again, let her go because I have a feeling at some point in the future she's going to come back. To one of us, at least. Yeah. Maybe not me, because I can't. Even if she said, "I am so sorry," or "Lo siento, Roberto, lo que pasa, que lo hizo," I'm like, I wouldn't even know what she was saying.
So, but you know what? It also makes me feel good when people see that other side. I have a friend that's he's in the mortgage industry, and his family called me to do their refi. Yeah. And I said, well, why don't you call him? We're not too sure. I said, okay, we're not going to post anything. We're not going to say anything. They're like, no, do not say anything. I don't even think he knows yet, right? Yeah. And he probably never watches this anyway, so who knows? If he does, I'm sorry. But, yeah, I did your mom and dad's refi. But, I just think it's funny that they see that side of it. And, speaking of, like, the sales pitch. Yeah. Have you ever been pitched now with like people trying to sell you leads or anything like that? Oh,
every other day.
Isn't it hilarious that the script that what are you doing to acquire business and how is that working? Do you have a moment? And I had one the other day. I said, how long is this going to take? 45 minutes. I said, I don't have that kind of time. Can you just tell me what it's going to be? How much is it going to be a month? What are you guaranteeing me? Well, no, let me ask you more questions. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I have to hang up. I just don't have that kind of time. And I feel bad for it, but yeah, the script, it's just so disingenuous. You're not even discerned at that point. You're just like, I don't want to be scripted. I don't want to be sold this. I want to buy something, but I don't want to be sold.
Yeah, I get those voicemails, those voiceless, the ringless mail voicemails. Yeah. Hey, this is Brad. I got your phone call. I'm just calling you back because, it seems like you're not doing enough business. And you know what? We want you to have more business. So give me a call back at 800, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, did I call them back? Who is this person? But again, it goes back to the disingenuous, disconnected feeling. And for me, again, changing the lens, changing the outlook helped tremendously. Because now it doesn't hurt so much. Because I think sometimes us as salespeople or us as just people in general don't like to be cheated on or to let people go, and it's hard. It's hard in your personal life. It's hard in business, and all you want to do is good for people. Mm-hmm. And this industry, mortgages, real estate, it's all about serving people. It's not about sales. I mean, buying your first house. Is an emotional journey all its own. That's like the dream, right? You're like Cinderella. That's the end of the Cinderella story. The glass slipper, the Prince Charming, the kids, and eventually the house. It's all a part of that dream. And I think a lot of people forget that.
Well, and I think, more than anything else, it's the if you don't service them, that entire experience, I mean, everyone is going to find out. And especially like in our culture, I mean, you have a carne asada, everyone's going to know, like, we went to Robert, the guy that officiated, he wouldn't help us. Well, doesn't he speak English only? Yeah, but it doesn't matter if he doesn't want to speak Spanish. And that's the sad thing about it, and trying to turn around and showing the right thing. Yep. But it's also that competitive nature because you almost don't want to let go of it because you're competitive. Like, I'm not losing this deal. There's no way I'm going to lose it. And that's the first email. If you remember the email, I said, there is no way in hell I'm going to send this over. Call me when you get the chance. Yeah. And, even still now, I'm still kind of upset with myself for conceding to it. But then again, it's like, well,
we had that talk
too. Learn the hard way.
Yeah, we had that talk too. It's like, hey, you know what? They reached out to this person. They felt jaded in some way. They felt they weren't getting the right answers they wanted, and people naturally do that. I had my ex-wife cheated on me. Mm-hmm. She found somebody else, and the first thing I want to do is blame her. How could she? But maybe there was things that I needed to work on. There's obviously things that she needed to work on too. It's a great point of self-reflection. And if you don't learn from it, if you don't learn from these experiences, you're failing, and you're going to fail in business. You take every single one as a learning lesson, and then you continue to bridge off that. And then, for me, 8 years later, I'm just like, I still can't believe I just renewed my license today. 8 years later, I'm like, oh shit, I'm still doing this. And it's still, and it's been a great career. It's been a great run. It's brought me all this. It brought me to you, and it's been fabulous. And I can't, despite all the issues and challenges I've had, I am very satisfied of where I'm at, and I get to hang out with you for an afternoon.
No, it is, and it's almost like that weight is lifted off your shoulders if you can say no, because you can turn around. I can look at myself in the mirror and say, did I try everything? I spent 3 hours of their lives, not my life, because I do this for a living. Did I do everything possible? Yeah. If they're not happy, I'm so sorry. And there's not much else I can do, because I'm not going to give you money.
And for clients and ex-wives, you just gotta let them go.
Yeah.
No, there's no point in there's no amount of knocking your head against the wall that's going to change anything. So with that said, we're at the end of the show, sir. Wow. I did want to point out, if you're out there and you're shopping for a home and you feel like you're not getting the right answers, you feel you're being misdirected, and you feel that you're being swindled, maybe I don't know if there's a better answer.
If they're charging you money up front besides the credit report, yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and point to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. You can go to the database here. You can go to the link. It's consumerfinance.gov and file a complaint and issue that. Have you ever had one of these, or at least somebody in your office had one of these?
No.
I've heard that, I haven't had one either, but I've heard that you have to reply to them, and it's like this big hyped up thing. I remember a brokerage getting a complaint filed, and they wanted every email, they wanted all these things. And so it is out there to protect you if you feel like you're not being guided in the right way, or if you feel that you've been taken advantage of. So this is just a resource for you, whether it's somebody in mortgages, somebody in real estate, anything financially based, credit cards, anything. You can go here, again, consumerfinance.gov, and get information about filing a complaint, or just information in general.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And I want to reiterate that I'm here with you, Senor. We're a little bit too early there. I am here with Victor Alarcon. From you go ahead and tell everybody where you're from.
All right, so Victor Alarcon with Prime Lending. So I'm a loan originator with Prime Lending.
You're that sexy guy. I am someone who seeks to make a difference.
Yes. So always trying to seek to make a difference in someone's life, trying to make everything for the better, but more than anything else, just educating, supporting, and advocating you all to get to that next level. If you're wanting to realize your dreams of home ownership, get pointed in the right direction with a real estate agent, everything like that, that's what we're here to do.
And then because we're at the end of the show, you get the last word, sir.
Last words. Don't let people turn around and pressure you into buying something. If you want to buy it, go buy it yourself. Let us guide you, but we don't have to turn around and push you to it.
I was going to say call Victor.
Or call me.
What's your phone number?
623-433-6357. You can tell I used to be in sales.
Oh, hello, 623.
433-6357.
So I want to thank everybody for joining us. Again, if you have any comments or questions, go and put those in the comment section, and we'll get to those as we go along. But I want to thank all of you for joining us, and we'll see you guys here maybe tomorrow or next week. Maybe. I don't know. We do this almost every day. Anyway, thank you, Robert Morales, RCO Network, Victor Alarcon. I'm still practicing. I call him Acorn. Oh, before I forget. Oh my God. So if you go down to the comment section below, you'll see the link for RCO Network private event. We do have an event coming up on October 21st with our special host, or I guess our keynote speaker, Jill Kimmel. So it is Jimmy Kimmel's sister. So she'll be here hosting and talking about her life and her challenges in her business too as a comedian. So
that's going to be awesome. I love comedy. So yeah.
It's going to be an awesome experience. So if you're around and if you're watching us now, go ahead and click the link. We have a $10 coupon code that lasts until the end of the day. That's called Winning 10. So if you type in Winning 10 in the promo code, you'll get to join us on October 21st. You get to see Victor. You get to see me do all this crazy stuff that we do. So again, I want to thank you, Robert Morales, RCO Network, with
Victor Alarcon,
Prime Lending.
There we go.
We'll see you guys next week.